Good morning, and welcome to day 7. We're over halfway through now, officially over halfway through. We made it last night to the end of the 5th leg, so we made it to the town of Verdun. So today and where we are now is a good starting place for today. A lot to do today, or certainly a lot to do this morning anyway. I'm knackered as well. I'm so tired, but at the same time so happy, because it's just nice just being out and doing a road trip in the van. You might find it hard to believe, but you know what, it'd be 5 years this summer, the July, that I've lived in this van, and in those 5 years there are very few road trips. The one to France with my children to see the Tour de France, the trip to Ukraine, and that was really as a delivery van because I wasn't able to use it as a home then because I stripped it out. The trip to the lakes years and years ago by myself, and I don't know if you could really consider trips up and down the country to meetups etc as road trips. Maybe a road trip for me is when you're going for some time and you're going over some distance, and that's it. So yeah, I haven't really done many road trips, so this is really nice. So yesterday, busy day, really busy day. I thought it was going to be a bit of a washout because it was raining. It was horrible. Let's check in right away. Am I in focus? Yesterday I noticed when I look back at yesterday's vlog, I'm out of focus. All of this behind me is in focus and I'm out of focus. It's so hard to focus because it's such a small screen and you're trying to do a focus but you're having to reach and faff. Then you got the light of that. Oh, I thought I had it, and I've also woken up, so my eyes aren't absolutely doing their thing. And yeah, it was all out of focus. I mean, it was soft focus, so you can get away with it. Hopefully this one is in focus. Sorry, so where do we go? Yeah, so there was a lot to do yesterday. And I wasn't sure whether I was going to be able to do it all. I wasn't even sure that I was going to get here to Verdun. And it rained pretty much most of the day as well. It was not nice. But we just persevered and we just cracked on and we got a load done. Honestly, I've got so many things down on this list here. So we left the little village of was it Muizon, and we went to, I aimed for a place called Sillery, Sillery. That was my place to go, but it took me forever to get there because I didn't want to go into Reims because of the low emission zone etc. So I was having to put in village after village after village to skirt myself round, because if you try to go from one point to another, Google Maps just goes straight, and was taking me into Reims all the time. So I was having to bypass that. So I went on this circumnavigation of Reims. It took me forever to get to my first place. I mean, it must have taken the best part of an hour. Yet, had I been able to just go straight to the place that I wanted to go to, I could have been there in 20 minutes. But nonetheless, it was really beautiful going through some really beautiful villages and stuff like that. And I got to Sillery, and there was this beautiful memorial by a church with an angel on her knees. Those are the memorials that I'm looking for. I mean, There's a lot of the memorials that you see are just these sort of very sort of small obelisks with a bit of lettering. Occasionally you'll get a plinth with a soldier on top, but most of the time they're quite simple. So I'm sort of on the lookout for something that's slightly different, a bit quirky, and this one was beautiful. It was so beautiful. I always loved the ones with women in, like an angel or a Virgin Mary or something like that. I think they're absolutely beautiful. So from there I then went to Fort de la Pompelle, and it's brilliant. It's a fort which has been made into a museum, and this fort was absolutely battered by the Germans, and it was such a stronghold because it was sort of, Reims was a very key city in that if you could defend Reims, you were defending the advance getting closer to Paris, because it was the main route, Belgium, Luxembourg, Germany, that particular corridor to get through to Paris. So Reims was a very important place. The Germans did go into Reims, they did invade Reims, and they destroyed it. I think there was a huge hurrah, or uproar rather, when they blew the cathedral up, bombed the cathedral. That really didn't sit well with the world, because things like that and civilian places are off ground, so to speak, you know, out of bounds. You're not supposed to, and they hit it, and then proceeded to hit the hospitals, the schools, civilian infrastructure. Does that remind you of anyone at the moment? So yeah, Reims was obliterated, but they fought valiantly, the French, and they kept on fighting, and this particular fort was one of the strongholds. And yeah, it's all done with the uniforms and various little scenes in some of the alcoves and everything. And they had this this collection in there. I think it was called the Frise collection, whereas this collection of military, I think it was mainly German military helmets and, you know, police, all sorts of things. It was insane. It was spectacular. Rows down this corridor of just helmet after helmet. I've never seen so many shiny helmets. Oh, it was incredible, really incredible. So I came out of there, and the interesting thing is, when I came out of there, as I was driving out, I saw for the first time since Dondergang, which is, I think I pronounced that correctly, this where the Trench of Death is, I saw for the first time one of the Western Front markers. So the Western Front Way, the app, etc., they mention in there how, however many years ago, they marked the route of the Western Front by building these monuments. I'll slap in some photos here if I can find the bit that I shot at the Death Trench. And they're only, you know, a metre and a half or so high, and then they have the helmet of whatever country, Belgium or France or Britain or whatever, that was defending that particular area. And I think originally there were over 200, maybe more, and over time they've got stolen or damaged or what have not, and I don't know how many are left now, but they are en route, and there was one there by the fort. And then I saw another one later on, as I'm going past this huge monument called the Monument of, I think it's Navarine or something like that, big pyramid. And then I saw another one going through this forest section. So I saw 3 of the markers by the roadside yesterday. So I'm going in the right direction, is what I'm trying to say. After La Pompelle, I went to a place called Sept Sol. There was a French cemetery there. Yeah, trying to get a mixture of all sorts of things: monuments, museums, cemeteries. Yeah, very small, but just, yeah, I love them. I love the cemeteries. They're just so peaceful. Then went to a place called Bacons, and got a bit of a footage of a monument there with a soldier stood on top. And a lot of these places are just the places that I've got in my Google Maps, so the route that I'm actually taking. So I just go to it, even if there's nothing there. I just go there and take a shot of whatever's in the middle of that square. That Google Maps takes me to the centre, which is normally where the mairie is, which is like the sort of the mayor's or the council building. And there's normally like a square, and there might be a church, and there's normally a memorial. So I'm heading for those for each of the places that I've put in, and then I use that as a base to then work out what is around that particular area. So that was Bacons, and as I'm driving from Bacons, I saw a sign for a Russian cemetery. So I'll go out, and now out in the middle of nowhere there's this Russian Orthodox church, I presume, and I can't remember how many. Was it 8 or 10 crosses? But obviously the different cross, you know, it's got the two lines that go across it, and that was next to a French cemetery. So yeah, that was quite nice to get something a bit different there. And across the road there was a memorial in the middle, this huge sort of circular gravelled area, and there was a sign saying zone militaire, or was it zone militaire, or military terrain, or something like that. And as I was driving from there, I saw more and more of these places, and it kind of gave me it has the feeling of Salisbury Plains, if you've ever been there. It felt very much like that, looked very similar, and I was like, this is interesting. I'm seeing loads of things, and you'd see lots of little roads going off, but like no entry signs and all of that stuff. I was like, curious. And I ended up in a place called Jonchery-sur-Suippe, where there was a French cemetery. Was that the one where there was a monument across the road from it as well, I think? And that then took me into a place called Suippes, and as I got to Suippes, there was an Aldi there, so I went and got a bit of lunch and some supplies, and I noticed military vehicles, and I thought, yeah, this has got the feel of an army town. This is like Lark Hill sort of thing, you know. And I was like, this is curious. And from that point, I then had to take a big deviation, because I now had to go off piste, so to speak, because I'd noticed on Google Maps loads of monuments, but they were a distance away, and I was like, I need to get them. So I went probably 20-25 kilometers north to pick up these things. So I found this monument for let me find it now. Where are you? It was the monument Navarine, and it was this pyramid, and you can see it for miles, and yeah, it houses over 10,000 unidentified remains, and all around it you can see the remains of all these trenches and stuff that have all grown over and everything. But again, you see why it's even though it's on this huge plain, it's like a slight ridge on this plain, so from there you have these commanding views for miles around. But yeah, the fact that there was 10,000 unidentified bodies in there is just quite, it's mind-blowing. And then I could see way in the distance my next objective, so I was like, right, go for that. And that was the American monument, and I think that was the first American monument that I'd seen. So I made a beeline for that, and I was the only one. I was driving up this road all by myself. It was raining, and I get there, and there's a gardener. Bonjour, bonjour, and he trottles off, and I go around and I'm taking pictures of the monument and everything, and as I go around there's an open door and I can hear these voices. I'm like, oh, and I sort of looked, and it was open, the gate was open, and there's these stairs. I thought, oh, I can go up here, or maybe there's like a narration, you know, a sort of, and you know, this is the American monument built in such and such, blah 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 blah. I thought it was that, so I'm merrily going up and up and up these stairs. Not many, and as I get to the top, the source of the speaking, I think, was the gardener's radio. He just had it hanging, blaring out full loud. So I guess as he was doing his gardening around the bottom of it, he could hear the radio. But it was, yeah, it was a talk show on a French radio station. Well, you get up there and then you've got these views all around, and it's really spectacular. But it was raining and very windy up there, but it was worth going to. Then I came down there and I went through sweeps, and as I'm coming out, oh no, I didn't go through sweeps then. I then go towards sweeps, and there's this monument that I'm looking for. It's a cemetery, yeah, monument stroke cemetery. But I'd seen it, and it was like a stone circle. I'd seen photographs of it, and I thought, this looks a bit interesting. Methinks to myself, it was it was the national necropolis for the 28th Brigade. It was a French monument. So I'm following Google Maps, and of course it stops and it takes me to a bloody dirt track again, and I'm like, and after the issue that I had the night before with the German one, I'm like, and I can see it. It's way in the distance, but I can see it, and I'm like, well, if I leave the van here, it's going to be a very, very long walk. So I thought, okay, let's just go for it. And the track was quite hard. However, every now and then there were these ruts full of puddles. Managed to get through the first one okay, got through the second, and the third one, I don't know what happened, I stopped because I was like, oh, should I? And then because I was still in first gear, I could feel the back wheels slipping, and I was fishtailing. I thought, oh no, keep going. Got through it, thank fuck. I was like, I do not get stuck here, Rob. Whatever you do not get stuck. So I carried on, and then I thought, do you know what, I'm just going to bail the van here. There was a bit where I could just pull in, stop there. I could have made it all the way to the end, but it was quite bumpy. But I thought, no, let's leave the van here. It's my house, it's got to get me back to the UK. There's still a long way to go. And then I walked to the stone circle and everything, and whilst I was walked there, I saw two jets fly over, which is pretty cool. I think they use Dassaults, are they here, or Mirages still? I really don't know what they use anymore. I think it's a Dassault. But yeah, these two jets flew over, and it's starting to rain, and it's a windy, etc. And I get there, and it's a really beautiful monument, you know, and very quirky, very different to all the French monuments and the French cemeteries and stuff. The gravestones were very different. And then I walked back to the van, and I thought, right, okay, no stopping, in second gear, and just go for it. And I did, and it seemed to be worse on the way back. It was really weird, but it was fishtailing, it was slipping and sliding, but I did have momentum. It was the main thing. Just keep going. It says, don't take your foot off the gas, just keep going, keep going. Slipping, sliding, jumping out the ruts, jumping back in the rut, etc, etc. Just kept go, 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 Neo. He was loving it. He was going, woohoo! I was just go, go, go. And eventually I get to this last puddle, and I don't know what happened, but I hit it, and this puddle must have been quite deep, because suddenly, out of nowhere, this huge brown wave just went over the bonnet, all over the windscreen. I couldn't see a thing. I just thought, just keep going, just keep going. You know, and I didn't even put the windscreen. I think I did manage to put the windscreen wipers on a little bit, and then just thought, don't go off into the field because you're fucked. Just keep going, and I made it through. And when I got out sometime later to survey, oh, he was a mucky pup. Oh, he was a dirty boy. So, yeah, Neo's like a kid. You know, you give him a pair of wellies, he'll jump in the biggest, dirtiest puddle given a chance. But oh my. So no more off-roading. I've decided I can't do that. It's too risky. It was too risky. That's twice now. I don't think third time's going to be a charm. Go through sweeps. I was thinking to myself, actually, as I go through sweeps, and I passed at the army camp there, lo and behold, there is an army camp, or military base. And as I'm going at the other side of sweeps, I'm trundling along to myself, going, oh, there's a town called Sweeps. I was thinking, I wonder if there's a town called Sooty. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Anyway, from there, I get to a place called Ville-sur-Tourbe, which was another one of my legs, and I see this sign, La Main de Massiches. You see these signs that look, they're white with black lettering, but the font or whatever that is used, it's sort of, to me, it's saying that it's a it's like a museum or a place of interest. So I'm like, okay. So I looked on Google Earth, and yeah, there was a place. I thought, right, I'll go for that. So I went up, and it was a bit bumpy, windy, and I get to this plateau, and it's just, you suddenly just, oh my word, there's just trenches. And it's quite scary. It's quite scary in a way, because you come out, and there's barbed wire and all sorts of stuff, but you see trees, just like in all these black and white photographs that I've been seeing in the museums and the film archive of the trees that are destroyed and obliterated by machine gun fire and mortar blasts and shelling and etc. And they're just, you know, skeletons. And there were trees just like that on this ridge. It was very, very haunting, taking footage of it. And there was no one around and everything. And I was like, there's these trenches. And it was like, and really done up quite. And I thought, you walk through. So I did. And I decided to reenact my own version of 1917, where I have to get a message to Colonel Neo. And so I go walking quite quickly through these trenches, and then I start running through these trenches, and I'm round and going round and round. I have no idea where the hell I'm going. I'm literally just running round. I don't know how long I ran for. It couldn't have been that long. Maybe it was 5 minutes. It felt longer. I was puffing and blowing like you couldn't believe. And I come out at the end of it, I was absolutely wheezing away. I was like, oh, I need my blue puffer. It was the first time this trip had to take me blue puffer. And come out, and it was, yeah, quite, I mean, for you know, I'll make it, you know, I'll give it the Roger Deakin look, and I'll put sound effects over it and stuff like that. You can judge for yourself. What an idiot I am. But just the experience of just walking quickly through these trenches and everything, it really does get the adrenaline going. You really do get this understanding of how frightening it really was for these guys. So yeah, I'll put it together with music and sound effects, and you can judge it how you best judge, with a pinch of salt. So that was really cool. I then went from there to a place called Vienne-le-Château. There was a French necropolis there. Is that the one with the monument? I can't remember now. Yeah, I make notes, and I think to myself, and then I'm like reading them, and I think, oh, what's the point of making notes when I haven't got a clue? Oh, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, lovely little place, Vienne-le-Château. And I then get to this next place called Varennes en Argonne, and there is another an American monument. I think it's the Pennsylvanian monument. And it's an enormous thing. And it's raining. You got slabs of marble or whatever it is, type stone. I go for a couple of steps. Oh my, did I nearly go for a Richard? Oh my word. I properly did a like that. I was like, not now, Rob. You know. Yeah, sometimes, yeah, I do have my blonde moments, yeah. And sometimes I've got about the finesse of a giraffe on ice. Yeah. Fuck, did I so nearly stacked it with the camera and everything. It was proper slidey on there. So I started to tread with caution around the American monument. I was like, you know, you don't want to fucking make a monument of Rob Del Pino. It's in the middle of the French countryside. And I do all of that, and then I come down and you go over this bridge over what looked like quite a torrent of a river, and I go on to my next place called the Vauquois Monument. Now this was a bit of an effort to get to. I had to go out my way, but I'm so happy I did, because I'd seen it and what have not, and I thought, no, this must be a place to go to. And you go up and into, and of course a lot of these places are up in the hills and stuff, because a lot of the strongholds and a lot of the command posts, etc., were all up in the hills, because they're of strategic value because of what you can see, etc. And they're easy to defend, or easier to defend. So I get up there. It's chucking it with rain, but I go up, and it's basically a huge trench network, but basically the way they fought was through mining and through tunnelling and exploding the enemy's tunnel systems, etc. Was it 518 mines were set off in this particular area? I mean, and it's just, all you see are these enormous fuck off big craters and holes, and God knows how many people died there. But it's insane, isn't it, to think that in order to sort of snuff out your enemy is by tunnelling, burying huge amounts of explosives, and then just blow the fucker up. And they were doing it to each other, the Germans and the French, tit for tat, tit for tat. I think the French did more. But the landscape is just like what would have been a nice hillside is just, it's like a Swiss cheese. It's unbelievable. And you got this monument at the top. It was chucking it with rain. It was awful. So I made a beeline from there down, and I see a sign for American Cemetery, and I'm thinking, I've not got an American Cemetery. So I follow this sign, of course, follow the signs, and I end up back at the monument, the Pennsylvanian American monument. I'm like, that's a bit odd. Okay, carry on. Went on, drove. I get to a place called Cuissy, Cuisy. That's my next place to go to, and that was a tiny little hamlet. It was like a village just made of farms, so it was quite, yeah, it wasn't pretty at all. It was just all farms and machinery and crap and goodness knows what. But it was on my list. But prior to that, I went to a place called Mont Falcon, and it's another American monument. And this monument you can see for miles. It's a huge column. And I thought, got to go for that. And I couldn't go onto it because it had been cordoned off. I don't know if they were doing repairs or what have not. Or maybe they cordoned it off because they're thinking, hey, it's raining and someone could go ice skating on this. I decided not to, so I thought, okay, I haven't had the drone out today, and it stopped raining, so I thought, let's get the drone, and I got some really cool drone footage of it. In fact, we're that high up that as I was going round it, the cloud was coming in. I thought, shit, if I'm not careful, I could be going non-VFR here, and I was like, uh-oh. And I remember, like, don't move just in case, because I'll end up just flying into the statue. It's like almost like a mini version of a woman, like a Statue of Liberty type thing, not with the hand up. And then there's it was the site of what would have been an old village, so you can see the church at the bottom, the remains of it that just got blown to pieces. And I think what they've done, they've moved the village slightly further down the hill, but all around there was once upon a time a village which the Americans were holding, but it just got blown to smithereens. So I did that, and that was really cool. And then I'm off, and I'm like, come on, we're going to the end now. And I see another American cemetery sign, so I think, right, I've not got an American cemetery, so I follow this sign, it gets to a point where it's I've got a decision, left or right. I go right, it takes me back to the monument. So like the previous one, I'm like, what the hell is going on? Right, I can't be asked with this, I'm off. I couldn't see it in the vicinity on Google Earth as well, because I had a little look, so I thought, carry on. All right. It's only when I get here much later on, I go and I look, that it was miles away, not stupidly far away, but it was, had I gone left as opposed to right, that road would have taken me to it. But at that point, the signs had stopped. There was no sign to say. So there was about 4 or 5 signs to get me to that point, but the most important point, where you got a 50-50 chance of going right or wrong, I chose to go wrong. C'est la vie. From there, I then went to a place called Bras-sur-Meuse, and that's literally just a few kilometres from where I am now. And I looked around, got some shots of the monument, and then I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go for Verdun, because I was now looking for a place to stay. There are a few places here. Thought, come here, so that's where I am. And there's a huge supermarket chain called Leclerc. I think Carrefour is the big one, and then you got Leclerc is another one. And you got you got the car park of the supermarket, shopping centre. Then you got like a bus station. There's a train station just up here. Tracks just here to the side, and then you got this whole area here for 5-6 campers, free. Come on, UK, get your act together and start doing this. It's a no-brainer, because I'm now going to go 5 minutes into the city centre here. I'm going to take some photos. I will probably go to a boulangerie and get myself a nice croissant or something, maybe a coffee. Excuse me. I'm putting money in the community. Oh, do you know? Fucking hate the UK. I really do. Oh. So that's where I am now. So I'm in a good place. So it's the end of leg 5 as well. So I'm going to do a couple of monuments in Verdun, and then I'm going to go back to Bras-sur-Meuse and up the hill there, and there's forts, monuments, there's a whole bunch of stuff. I think there's a museum up there, so a lot of important stuff to see. Verdun is a very, very important place in terms of its history in the First World War. There was a lot of fighting here. I think he had the longest battles that went on for some time. So yeah, all around here there are villages that are no longer, that have just left desolate now and stuff like that. Remains of churches, etc., etc. And yeah, there was a huge concentration. The Germans had an attitude here of basically tempting the French, staying put and just bringing them in, and they were just, we're going to slaughter these French, and they did. And it's this particular section that I've been doing, it's just cemetery after cemetery of just French, and there are literally thousands and thousands and thousands. I don't know what the true number is. I think I might be wrong here, but I think it was something like 4 million French soldiers died, which is just insane amount of innocent lives lost. Anyway, on that cheery note, gonna go around Verdun, and then I'm on to my 6th stage. I don't know how much I'm going to do. These are long stages now. I've only got 3 more left. I do have a few extra days in the bag just in case, so I could sort of stop halfway through one if I need to, or what have not. So I do have a bit of wiggle room in the bag, but we'll do as much, and then we're going to basically be heading south now. Yeah, we kind of go due east a bit more, and then we're starting to now head south, and then we're actually now going towards the Swiss border. So we're going to go to, we'll probably go around and bypass the city of Nancy. I think there's a military airfield base, airbase at Nancy, because I heard planes last night, and I looked, and there's an airbase just outside of Nancy. So maybe that's where these planes were coming from that I heard all last night and the day before. It's alright. See you in the next one. Cheers.